Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, we journey into a surah that stands as a wall of clarity and courage. A surah that teaches us the power of saying no when the world asks us to compromise what is sacred. A surah that is not just a statement, but a shield, a declaration of identity. This is Surah Al-Kāfirūn, the disbelievers. Picture Makkah in the earliest days of Islam. The streets were narrow, alive with trade and poetry, the air filled with incense and pride. Every corner of the Kaaba was shadowed by idols, 360 of them, each one carved by human hands, each one believed to hold divine power, gold and stone, fear and superstition. And then came a voice unlike any other, calm, unwavering, calling the people not to another idol, but to the one who made the heavens and the earth. Say, La ilaha illa Allah. There is no God but Allah. It was a thunderclap in the stillness of centuries. The idols trembled, not because they could feel, but because their time was ending, and those who profited from them, the chiefs of Quraysh, began to feel the ground shift beneath their feet. They mocked, they threatened, they tortured. But the message grew, stronger, clearer, unstoppable. The truth has a light of its own, and no matter how tightly you close your eyes, dawn will come. So when mockery failed, they turned to diplomacy, negotiation, a deal that would keep the peace. The most powerful men of Makkah, Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira, Al-As ibn Wa'il, Umayyah ibn Khalaf, came to the Prophet. They said, O Muhammad, let's come to an agreement. You worship our gods for 1 year, and we will worship your God for 1 year. You bow to our idols, and we will bow to your Allah. If what you have is true, we will have a share in it. And if what we have is true, you will have a share in it. It was, to them, a reasonable proposal, a way to end the division, to keep the city united, a political truce. But to the Prophet, and to every believer after him, it was a test of identity, of loyalty, of tawḥīd. Because faith is not a contract, it is conviction. The worship of the one true God cannot be mixed with the worship of anything else. Truth cannot be diluted by falsehood, and purity cannot be shared with impurity. In that moment of immense pressure, with the leaders of his city before him, the Prophet did not respond with anger, nor with philosophy. He waited, and the answer came, not from his heart, but from the heavens. Qul, Ya ayyuhal-kāfirūn, say, O disbelievers. This was not his personal opinion. This was a divine command, a line drawn by the hand of revelation itself. The surah continues, La a'budu ma ta'budun. I do not worship what you worship. Right now, in this moment, our paths are separate. My prostration is not for your idols. Prayers are not for your statues. What I worship and what you worship are not the same. Not in form, not in essence, not in purpose. Wala antum abiduna ma a'bud. Nor are you worshippers of what I worship. You may say the name Allah, but your understanding is clouded by partners and intermediaries. You claim to seek Him, but your hearts are chained by pride and tradition. This worship, this direct, pure submission, you have not embraced it. Then Allah repeats, Wala ana abidun ma abadtum. Nor will I ever be a worshipper of what you worship. This is not temporary. This is not political. This is forever. Do not wait for me to change, for my heart belongs wholly to the one who created it. My loyalty cannot be shared. And again, Wala antum abiduna ma'abud. Nor will you ever be worshippers of what I worship. A repetition so deliberate, so final, that it seals the divide, because they had already been given the message and had chosen rejection. This was not hate, it was clarity. And then comes the final verse. For you is your religion, and for me is mine. Not a curse, not a dismissal, a boundary of peace and truth. You follow your way, and I follow mine. There is no mixing of paths. There is no middle ground between tawḥīd and shirk. This short surah, only 6 verses, is one of the most powerful declarations in human history. It ended the negotiations of Quraysh forever, and it taught us, as an ummah, the meaning of spiritual integrity. Because Surah Al-Kāfirūn is not a message of aggression. It's a message of identity. It's not about hostility. It's about honesty. It's not about closing doors. It's about closing confusion. It teaches us how to live in a world that invites us to compromise our faith. A world that says, why be so strict? Why not celebrate everything? Why not bend a little so everyone is happy? But the believer remembers, faith is not about pleasing people. Faith is about pleasing Allah. In every age, there are new idols, not always of stone, but of ideology, desire, and ego. Some bow to wealth, some to fame, some to the mirror, some to opinions. And yet, every idol, ancient or modern, is a distraction from the truth. This surah reminds us our La ilaha illallah must mean something. It is not just words. It is a line we do not cross. It defines who we are. Think of the courage of the Prophet, standing alone, surrounded by the most powerful men in Arabia, being offered peace, power, and popularity. If only he would compromise for 1 year, just 1 year. But he said no, not from arrogance, but from obedience. Not because he sought conflict, but because he could not betray the truth. If he had agreed, even for a day, the line between tawḥīd and shirk would have blurred. And Islam, the pure submission to Allah, would have been lost before it began. This surah is his answer, and ours. To the believer living in today's world, Surah Al-Kāfirūn whispers, do not lose yourself in the noise. Do not trade your principles for approval. Do not confuse kindness with compromise. You can smile at your neighbor. You can work with others in good causes. You can live peacefully with all faiths, but you cannot share your worship. You cannot dilute the oneness of your Lord. Because tawḥīd is not only a belief, it is our identity. And yet, look at the beauty of Islam. Even in this firm declaration, there is no hatred. The Prophet did not curse them. He did not insult their gods. He simply said, for you is your religion, and for me is mine. A peaceful separation, a model for how to live with conviction and respect at the same time. This is what makes Islam balanced, firm in principle, gentle in tone, uncompromising in truth, yet just in conduct. My brothers and sisters, Surah Al-Kāfirūn is not just a statement from the past. It is a mirror for the present. When the world says, change your hijab, it's old-fashioned. Skip your prayer, it's just 5 minutes. Hide your faith, it makes people uncomfortable. Remember these 6 verses. Say to your heart, I know who I am. I know what I stand for. Because the true believer is not stubborn, but steadfast, not arrogant, but anchored. And so, Surah Al-Kāfirūn becomes not just a surah of separation, but a surah of serenity. It frees you from the need to please everyone. It liberates your soul from confusion, teaches you that being true to Allah is the highest form of peace. When you recite this surah before sleep, as the Prophet used to do, you're not just reading words, you're wrapping yourself in a shield. You're saying, tonight, I belong only to Allah. You're drawing a line between yourself and the world of falsehood. So next time you recite, Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun, feel its strength in your chest. Remember the night it was revealed. Remember the Prophet standing firm in Makkah, alone, but never lonely, rejected by men, but embraced by the Lord of the worlds. And remember that this surah, like a mirror, asks you one question. Who do you worship? And everything about your life, your choices, your habits, your priorities, answers that question every day. May Allah make our hearts steadfast upon His oneness. May He grant us the courage to live our faith without fear, the wisdom to show respect without compromise, and the strength to say, La ilaha illallah, not only with our tongues, but with our lives. For you is your religion, and for me is mine, not in pride, but in peace, not in hostility, but in truth, because when the world wavers, the believer stands. When the world negotiates, the believer proclaims. When the world forgets who it is, the believer remembers who his Lord is. This is Surah Al-Kāfirūn. This is our shield of identity, our declaration of loyalty, our reminder that the light of truth does not blend. It shines, pure, clear, eternal. Assalamu, alaikum, warahmatullahi, wabarakatuh. May Allah make us among those who worship Him with sincerity, live with clarity, and meet Him with hearts that never bow to anyone but Him.